The Slim Fast 14-day effect on your New Year's resolution. Day 1, the new year. You want to kick it off with a bang, and you're not just talking about fireworks. Day 14, you're ready to start this year right, looking great and preferably on top.
2 weeks is all it takes to get what you really want. Swap 2 meals a day for Slim Fast protein shakes or bars, get in a 30-minute workout, and stick to a 1,200-calorie diet to lose up to 6 pounds in your first 14 days. Find Slim Fast in a store near you.
You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's Girls After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Girls After Show.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Girls After Show. We are in season 3, episode 1 and 2, actually. Females Only and Truth or Dare. I am your host, Kelly, and we have a very special guest with us in addition to the lovely Miriam.
Hello, I'm Miriam, and our special guest tonight is
the lovely Lindsey McKeon.
Yay! Welcome.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you.
We've seen you on a lot of great shows yourself. Supernatural, One Tree Hill.
Yes.
What kind of things do you have coming up?
I actually have a couple of films that are set to come out this year.
Fabulous.
A comedy called Flock of Dudes, and then a horror film called Indigenous.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, and a couple other things, too, but those are the biggest.
And you are a huge Girls fan.
I'm a huge Girls fan.
And what did you think of the episodes tonight, the lead-in to season 3?
I love them. I mean, I love every single episode. I love Lena Dunham. I love how neurotic she is and how original and organic and how okay she is just being herself and being naked. Even though she was less naked in these episodes, I was surprised.
We did see some boob.
We saw a little, but not too much.
A little bit of boob.
wasn't so in your face.
No, it wasn't jiggling, dancing around.
True. But do you think that, and this is something that we have talked about in previous seasons, do you think that it's true to life, like when, back like going through your early 20s, do you feel like it's something that you can relate to, maybe like in late teens and right out of college or something?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I can relate. I think I relate more to the Jessa character. The other characters, I didn't really spend time around when I was that age, but now that I'm older, I think I have more of an appreciation for how dynamic each character is.
Yeah, we always felt the same way, which I thought was really cool. And one of the great things about the show is I think there is a character that just about anybody can relate to, or it's somebody that you've met kind of in your life.
Right.
All right, so let's get into it. So it starts out, Adam and Hannah are together, living together, which I love.
Yay!
I love. And, Adam gets a lot of flack. A lot of people think he's like a really bad boyfriend. And I don't know if I think he was necessarily terrible, and I think it's something that we had discussed in seasons before. I don't know, what do you guys think?
No, he's not a bad boyfriend. I think that he was just not, and in the last season, he wasn't ready for Hannah to become the girlfriend, and when he was, she wasn't ready for him to be that serious. And so I think that there was conflict in that regard. I think it's misinterpreted. But when she went through what she went through at the end with the OCD, he stepped up to the plate, and we see that in the opening today, that he is very much so there for her, making sure that she's taking her medication, to the point where it's like, stick out your tongue and let me see. I mean, like, what is she going to spit it out? I mean, she loves him, but then again, you just never know. People don't really like that kind of medication. It makes them feel weird.
Right.
But he really genuinely cares for her.
I think he does. I think he really does. And I thought that we got to see a little bit of her kind of like stepping more into her own of being a grown-up and kind of being in this relationship, being on her own. And just like the way she would talk to him is not... I don't know. I felt like it was more they were talking to each other versus talking at each other.
They were both more like children last season. I mean, they're still children, but they're living together and growing up and turning into adults, which is why they're able to have a relationship now. They're not two like crazy kids who don't know how to communicate or do anything together.
Yeah. No, definitely still a little bit of children, because it just was really funny. His I don't want to hang out with your friends.
Such a Neanderthal.
I think that's a lot of men, though. I think a lot of men don't want to hang out with women who are just like talking.
No.
It's like, dude, ladies, get a direction. Stop being all over the place. You're driving me nuts.
Well, especially at that age, and you know, women in their 20s tend to, the conversation's different. It's not very intellectual. It's very, I mean, Shoshanna, her dinner table conversation was case in point. It was, well, my priorities for this is, you know, balancing guys and balancing my education, and oh my God. And he's just like, are you flipping kidding me?
And especially because she talks exactly like that, too.
Exactly.
Like the way that she speaks.
Shoshana is super special.
She is. You gotta love Shoshana. But I like that he was very, you know, he communicated that. He was like, you know, I'm sorry, wouldn't you rather just go out, be with your friends on your own? I just am not interested in anything they have to say at all. But I thought it was interesting that Hannah had the same reaction. She's like, I'm not interested in what they have to say either, but that's not what friendship is.
Absolutely. I think it's cute too that he was like, well, she says to him, you agreed to this. And he goes, well, I thought you weren't really going to go through with it. You know, wouldn't you rather go out and me be happy than me be here? And she makes a really valid point, and I think it's something that, which is, I think, what makes it so relatable to everyone out there. It's the fact that when you're in a partnership like that, and especially when you're living together, whether your significant other likes it or not, there's got to be some sort of balance and compromise. And it's like, I'm not going to not invite my girlfriends over to hang out just because you're not interested. You got to seem a little interested, because if you want to have football, you know, Sunday football and the guys over and wings and beer, and I'm not interested, although I'm not that girl, I'm like, bring it.
Yeah.
You know, there has to be that balance. And I don't think he gets that, but she does.
Well, and she told him, you know, I love you. I want you to be in every part of my life. I want you to do everything with me. And I thought that was cute, because she wants to bring him into her life. And even though he didn't want to do it, he was a good sport about it.
Yeah,
he could have been a jerk. He could have huffed and puffed, and he could have been a smartass and whatever, but he wasn't.
No, he spoke his truth, and then he got on with it and dealt with it, and actually was helpful to her friends.
Yeah, and he actually, the thing about Adam, which is very interesting, is he is kind of, as Shoshanna puts it, like, he, you know, is a little bit demented, but he totally gets life in such a unique way that it totally makes you step out of your situation and kind of look at things differently, because he is pretty intellectual and pretty deep. Like, he's a passionate, deep person.
You could see that when they're sitting at the dinner party, naturally he's sitting there and he's bored to tears, but when Marnie finds out that he came in contact with Charlie, you can see when he kind of brings it to, let me have you, like, this relatable moment. He, like, talks Marnie off the shelf. You know, off the ledge, so to speak.
Right.
And that was a really endearing quality, to the point where, like, you know, Hannah was just... what did he say to her that was... He says to Marnie, he's like, when you really... he starts talking about anyone can have a connection, but when you really know someone, it's a different thing. And so, you know, of course, after Hannah and him wind up having sex later on after the dinner party... It was cute to see Hannah try to relate that with him, because she says that to him. She's like, I feel like I really, really know you.
Yeah.
Unlike Natalia.
Right.
Well, that's the girl. I mean, that's just human nature, always, like, pushing it. It's
of course.
Because but he already said it.
Yeah.
He already said it, and the girl's like, hey,
she was fishing.
I really know you. You want to tell me again how much you really know me?
Yeah, exactly. You were always fishing for a little bit more, since he didn't directly say Hannah's the one.
Yeah.
But when he was telling that, you know, his first heartbreak story.
Yeah.
And it was, you know, really special. And, you know, the fact that he did that to relate to Marnie, make her feel better, and tell her, you know, when you know it, you're not going to miss it, and it's not going to hurt. It's not going to be anything. You're just going to know. And just the way that he put it, and the way he speaks, just so matter of fact and so confident.
He's like a truth teller.
Yeah, you can't help but to get motivated by that and think, okay, well, shit, if Adam can do it, you know, kind of, right? It's got to happen for anybody,
Giving me hope.
Definitely. I think he gave her a little bit of hope. Yeah, for sure. But I like seeing, you know, their dynamic, and he's being there. And, you know, it's a little bit of a struggle, but, you know, they're having a relationship.
They're definitely having a relationship, and you could see that moment that scary moment for the both of them when he comes to the restaurant where Hannah works and Ray owns, and he notices that Natalia is sitting in the restaurant. And when he realizes that Natalia is there, you could see the oh shit factor in his face, because we find out in that whole interaction that he wound up leaving Natalia straight up, flat out, without any sort of warning or...
He pretty much ran to Hannah's, and that was that.
Yeah, and this is a thing that, I mean, that sucks. Because I'm sure, and this has happened to many girls and women over time, it's the fact that he said to her before he did that, you know, that you're all I need and that I love you. And then it's like, okay, you pretty much tell me what I need, make me feel amazing, on top of all the wacky shit that he did, you know, crawl for me to my room, do we not remember that? And all the crazy sexual interaction.
I mean, that was so, like, horrible for her. I mean, you could tell it was just, like, awful. She totally demeaning. And that was kind of the last interaction we saw of them.
But when you love someone and when someone tells you that they love you and that you're all that they need, you're like, all right, so he wants me to crawl to the bedroom and, you know, bang me like a crazy porn star. Let's do this. And so she felt very... she felt like ass. She felt terrible. She felt like, you know, the bottom of someone's shoe.
Right.
You know, after him doing all of that for him.
Well, and then she's calling his name, and he's just, I don't know anybody in this place.
Yeah.
He's just trying to pretend.
Ignoring her.
Yeah, ignoring
like, that's
her.
The worst. You won't even acknowledge me.
No. And then her friend, which was the one that was engaged, right? They were at their engagement party. Wasn't that the friend?
Yes.
The blonde girl? That little feisty blonde girl. And tell me, I mean, I'm sure that you've wanted or have done or thought about doing something like that for your friends. Like, you know, screw this jerk. Let's go and, like, we're going to confront him.
You won't talk to him. I'll talk to him for you.
I got this.
She was hilarious. I mean, just the one going up to him, confronting him, and then saying to him, by the way, she's pregnant. It's yours. Feel it.
That was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Feel it. And
she kind of goes with it for a second. She's like nodding.
You see Natalia's the look on her face. She's just like, yeah. No, I'm not pregnant. She finally, like, fesses up to it. But it's the fact that he did leave in such a manner that she could be.
Right. Well, and he apologizes.
He did apologize.
He did. He
owned
took responsibility.
Up to it. And he said, what did he say? He said something about he's not good. He says, I have trouble with confrontation.
Yeah.
Like, he owns up to everything.
He does. The thing about Adam is he's not a liar.
Yeah.
Like, he'll just tell you, like, straight. He may like disappear, but once you get him face to face, he's gonna tell you. He's not gonna, you know, he doesn't BS. He just kind of like, oops, sorry, kind of a thing.
My bad.
And, you know, and you feel bad for her. You know, she was a nice girl and whatever. But then when they start interacting with poor Hannah,
she got mean.
Oh, so this is Hannah. Did you leave in a rush?
That was
brutal.
She said what a lot of people are thinking.
Yes. And did you see Ray in the background laugh? Poor Hannah.
You know, but that was where you could see that it's a girl scorn. You know, she's hurt. Yeah. She knows about Hannah and all of the crazy that went with that.
Right.
And now it's like, you left me to go back to that. And she calls her out on it. She's like,
the lowest blow.
Yeah, she's like, you know exactly what you have on your hands. You have this... what did she say? He's like a recovering, sex addicted,
off the wagon sociopath.
She went off.
Yeah, she went off.
She really did go off.
She got vindicated for sure.
Oh, without a doubt. And then she goes, you guys enjoy your urine-soaked life like the two feral animals that you are.
Yeah, she's talking about you're gonna have a baby that you're gonna get no milk from those breasts. Like she went to that. That's like a baby you're gonna kill, and just like terrible. Just really like going at it with every aspect.
And we are not paying the check.
Yes. To top it off.
The odd thing about that interaction was, was it just me, but Ray was freakishly turned on by that?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
he's weird. He loves that kind of stuff.
Yeah, he said, "Oh, I like the blonde one. She's feisty."
He was like, "She's a shyster."
Yeah, he was like,
"All he sees is the fire."
Oh my goodness.
Oh, Ray. It's funny. So, you know, but Hannah didn't make a thing about it.
No.
Not really. I mean, she brought it up a little bit, but, you know, it was just kind of like it is what it is. Well,
it takes two messed up people to find each other to find their perfect match.
Right.
It doesn't take like a half person and a whole person, a good person, a bad person to make like
The question is
perfect couple.
Does that really work?
We shall see. Dun, dun, dun. How long can they manage?
That is the question.
Well, we find that in him being there, Adam being there for Hannah and her friends, and her being there during that situation with Natalia, that at the very end there's a phone call from Jessa. Now, when we look back to Jessa's situation, Jessa's now in rehab.
Yep.
Oh, Jessa.
Yep. Jessa's in rehab, and
did they say how she got into rehab? Because I don't remember that from last season.
Well, she said that her grandma made her go. That's the only thing her grandma would pay for. 60 days in rehab, and then she'd get her a plane ticket and rent back to her life. And some Uggs. Uggs. Some boots that she wanted. Uggs from Australia.
She was in it for the Uggs the whole time.
In it for the Uggs, for sure.
She's so out there. But beyond being out there, I think she's very afraid to face her realities. And we saw that in the last season and seasons prior. And I think that's part of the reason why she's there. Mm-hmm. Here you have her in rehab. We find her sitting in group. She is laughing at this guy's story because his neighborhood is no longer what it used to be. Now there's a froyo on the corner, and somehow he's totally messed up about it.
It's sad because the guy with the flat top isn't there anymore.
You know, I will say this. I admire Jessa. Even though she cannot face her own realities, I admire the fact that she's honest about that kind of stuff. It's like, where are your priorities?
Yeah.
She's
where are
ballsy.
your priorities?
I mean, she's ballsy with all the other people, like, just throwing it in their face where they're just sort of sitting there continually, like, talking about their small problems. And I think that's, like, sometimes where things can get lost. You can sit talking about your problems forever and not move on with your life. Or you can be like Jessa, who just won't acknowledge ever your problems. Like, finding that balance.
Yeah.
But she'll be the first one to call out everyone else's. Like, she can read people and make them deal with theirs.
But not
and I
hers.
think that's her way of kind of deflecting. Mm-hmm. So she doesn't have to deal with her own. Let me make you deal with yours and let me help you get through that. And I think what she thinks that she's doing is helping. Is if I'm going to bluntly call you out and tell you, it's just getting you 5 steps closer to dealing with it and being a happier person. Mm-hmm. I think that's what she honestly thinks.
Yeah, I definitely think that, and I also think, I mean, it's definitely a way to deflect from what she's going through.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think...
It's her coping mechanism.
Yeah, it's definitely her coping mechanism, and the British guy, which I never caught his name, they never said it.
I don't think they did either. Her friend in rehab.
I didn't get it either.
Her British friend in rehab.
If they did, please tell us if we missed it. But
you know, he calls her out on it when they're playing checkers or chess, and he says, you know, it all comes down to the daddy issues, and you know, it's your daddy and his daddy's daddy, and we see that when she went to visit her father, that there were definitely issues there.
Oh, for sure.
And you know, even when they were sitting in group, and she's sitting in group, she's like, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to turn it on? Do you want me to cry? Do you want me to talk about it? She's like, honestly, it doesn't accomplish anything. I'm over it to a certain, like, she's over it. She's like, I dealt with it when I was 5. To say that she dealt with it at such a young age, she probably is sick of dealing with it, honestly. I mean, she hasn't figured out how to resolve it.
Well, I think she found out at the age of 5. I don't know if she dealt with it, but she found out. She realized it, came to the realization, which is like, yeah, if you're 5 years old and you're seeing this, you're almost too smart for your own good, which is why she can, like, weed her way in and out of everything, talk her way out of everything. And you see everybody else's problems, but nobody can help you with yours.
Right, because she won't really deal with it. And she hasn't dealt with it, because you see, like, when she leaves in the first place, when she ditches Hannah, she has this horrible experience with her dad. She sees that he's gotten this new life and this new family, and he left her. And again, she got left. And when she's in group, she talks about her dad was in rehab 12 times. Her mom couldn't even, you know, pick herself up and take herself to the bathroom, you know, however messed up that her family life was. So she's constantly getting left and having to take care of herself and fend for herself, and she won't just stop and say, I am a victim here. The only time we ever hear her say it is when she's in the room with Laura, and she says, sometimes I feel like the victim.
And you know, the one thing that the British guy said that really stood out to me the most, that kind of nailed nailed it on the head. And it was the fact that when wisdom comes from experience, and you've had many. And she says, well, I've had fun. She's like, yeah, and he says, yeah, but I bet it always hasn't been fun. And she's like, actually, no, it hasn't.
Yeah, I feel like she learned more in that room with him than she did in all the group sessions.
I think so too. Because he told her, you'll get to an age when you're going to finally realize what thoughts and what experiences are going to really help your life and the ones you need to forget. Mm-hmm. Which I think is really detrimental. And I think that there is that gap that we all go through when you realize all these things that you held on to or you thought were one thing, when you finally get to that point where you can look back and say, oh, well.
Well, if there's something you don't want to hold on to, it's definitely the holiday wait.
Absolutely.
So, with Slim Fast, 2 weeks is all it takes to get what you really, really want. In 14 days, the only thing higher than your confidence will be your hemline. This podcast is brought to you by Slim Fast.
Woo!
So speaking of things that you never forget, she may be kind of putting things behind in her mind, and with her making people deal with their own problems.
Right.
Her going to Laura after he says this to her, that, you know what, maybe I shouldn't have called Laura out and told the entire group that she's a lesbian, that she didn't do her hockey boyfriend, and that, I mean, the one thing that she did say to Laura...
From Orange is the New Black, by the way. Do you know the show?
Oh.
Yeah.
She's from Orange is the New Black.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Sorry.
No.
Nice.
But there's one thing that she did say in that group that, to me, I find true. And there's two kind of people, and she said this without saying it. There are two kinds of people in this world. There are victims and there are survivors. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people in that room were victimizing themselves. She's like, we've all been through something, and we're using, this experience to justify why we do what we do, which in Laura's case is sniffing lighter fluid or huffing lighter fluid. And so for her to call her out and saying that she's a lesbian was kind of, we know that it wasn't a thing that Laura was ready to acknowledge, nor did she know that if she truly was. So Jessa goes and apologizes to Laura and goes to her room, and first of all, how funny that she's wearing a females only tag.
And she takes it off, so you know something's coming.
Yeah.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, it's Jessa. It's Jessa.
Yeah.
Jessa's all about...
I didn't expect what we saw.
No,
I thought it would be something
step
else.
Farther.
That took it definitely one step further than I thought it was going to go.
Oh, without a doubt. So she apologizes to her and, tries to relate to her. Like, hey, I've had bad things happen to me. I had a gay uncle, and she's like, I'm sorry that your uncle banged you, or,
Yeah.
And, I found out that he had AIDS when I was 5. She's like, did you even know what AIDS was? So there's another example of her innocence really being, her innocence was taken away from her at a very young age. And, she pretty much says to her that she can relate to her. Mm-hmm. And then that's when Laura confesses up, like, hey, I think I am gay. I think I'm gay. I'm not sure. But what is it about gay people where they have to play sports? Like, not everybody gay plays sports, right? Like, so she kind of goes on this whole little tangent, and Jessa kind of ends it with, have you ever kissed a girl? Mm-hmm. Which that's kind of where it's bound to go in that direction. And
right. I thought they were just going to make out, but then you cut to, and she's,
It's Jessa. It doesn't... It always leads to more.
She's showing her the goods. Like, she's giving her first time.
As she said to the lady after she gets kicked out of rehab, it was charity. Don't read so
she was
deep
helping
into
her
it.
figure out.
It's for the greater good.
She was helping her figure out if was this the way she was
know
really
immediately whether she likes it or she doesn't.
Exactly.
She doesn't cut. She cuts to the chase.
Yeah. No BS.
No
Let's
BS
just get
with
it.
her.
Let's just get it done.
But the one thing that I don't think, and this is what the lady at rehab tried to explain, is Jessa may be detached from Laura.
But Laura
might not be. And that's a good example of that, is how attached Hannah is to Jessa.
Yeah. And her not understanding it. Because she's never been attached to anyone because her parents always leave her, so she doesn't do it.
You have to be aware of what you're doing to people.
Which she's absolutely not.
She has no idea.
No.
Yeah.
She just has a way of getting people to do that without realizing how much it hurts them.
Yeah. And that's the thing that she really needs to learn. And and the thing that she also needs to realize too is if she's dealt with it, if she's already been through this and all of that, then she wouldn't be abusing. She wouldn't be doing all these things that she's doing. So there's obviously still a problem that she just doesn't want to acknowledge.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's what's allowed her to survive since she was 5 years old in this world. She doesn't realize she's hurting people in the process.
No, she doesn't. She thinks, no.
So Marnie hurting, and that process is just brutal.
Well, the thing that bugs me, and it has since last season, that bugged me about Marnie and her whole crying situation is the fact that she's the one that tossed Charlie out so brutally. And she's the one that, like, didn't want to have anything to do with him until he got successful. All of a sudden, it was like a shiny new toy, and he was all good and better again.
Do you think that's why he left her? In the show. In the show.
Well.
Not in the show or off the show. In real life, why we thought he left. But in the show, is that why he left her?
Well, in my mind, his character would have, like, come to and realized, okay, let's think back to everything that's happened here. And usually, you know, when you break up with someone, you get back together, you usually realize why you broke up in the first place. More than likely. But
usually you come together for a little while and then you find that out.
Exactly. Yeah. Then you remind, it all comes back, and then it just all comes back, and you realize it just wasn't good. So in my mind, I'm hoping that's what happened. And he finally, he manned up, and he's like, you know what, sorry.
She wanted him to man up, and he did.
He did. Yeah, he did.
And
he was like,
did.
I'm too good for you, honey.
Just not in the way that she wanted. And I didn't like how she was just wanting to attach herself so much onto him and his success instead of trying to find her own.
Yeah.
Like, that always bothered me about her character. So I kind of like it that he left her.
But I liked his character.
No, I did too.
I wish he was still there.
I wanted to see him, like, be more of a man.
Yeah, it was fun watching him go that direction.
Yeah, I definitely like, and I like see the appeal. I mean, he definitely got hotter as he got more confident and successful, and just kind
Everyone wants a man.
Yeah, of course.
Every man gets hotter when they become more confident.
Yes.
No one wants a whiny man,
but not cocky.
No.
He still had the vulnerability
Yes.
with the newfound strength, which
Absolutely.
is so sexy.
Oh, for sure. So, I don't know.
Her mom, though, very unsupportive. Her mom is like, seriously,
get over it.
This is one of 20 guys that is going to fuck you over. Like, get over it. He's not Liam
Liam Hemsworth or Ryan Gosling
or Channing Tatum. And I'm like, actually, I'd probably cry. They're the same.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd cry the same no matter how glamorous or fabulous the guy is.
Right, yeah. The heartbreak is still the same.
It would probably hurt more.
Yeah.
And it's the fact that it's like, this is her first boyfriend, her first true love, and how it went down, and her mom being unsupportive about it. But I can also get the same... I can understand why she's frustrated, because when you hear someone talking about it over and over and over again, you're just like, seriously, shut up. But it's the fact, too, that I think that her mom is... I think she doesn't see Marnie really getting it together because she's so used to seeing Marnie the way we were first introduced to her.
Right.
And now she's not that person anymore.
She's working at the coffee shop.
Yeah.
Like, she's working at the coffee shop, but she's sleeping on her mother's couch in rainbow bright sheets. Like,
she was probably more like her mom, more together like her mom, stronger like her mom. And now she's had life knock her down a little bit. Yeah. She doesn't know how to be. And
well, especially because I think that she always thought that she was above Hannah, above Charlie. And now she's the lowest one.
Of them.
Yeah, she's, she's a little bit underneath now.
She even thought at one point that she was above her own mother, because we saw in one of the episodes the interaction between her and her mom, where she was even above that. And to see her kind of fall from grace is just, I think her mother kind of took advantage of it a little.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
But then we see her, I guess as we get into the second episode, her kind of mom up a little.
Yeah,
and friend up.
Yeah.
She's a gossip friend more than mom.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of what their relationship more is a little bit more friendly than it is parental. So maybe that's, why, too, she doesn't feel like she has guidance, because she's, look, Mom, I've got my own place, I got a job, I go into the city to work every day.
That's the mom part, where you have to justify, like, I'm taking care of my business.
But when her mom is, when her mom is like, yeah, whatever, walking out the door, and it's like, psh, what are you talking about? I didn't feel like that was a mom moment, because she was more so trying to say, look, but her mom was like, whatever, get over yourself.
Well, because I think her mom knows, like, you're not working at the job that you want to be working at. You're working at a coffee shop.
Yeah.
Yeah. At a job.
I don't know if she knows that. Or maybe she does.
I mean, I wonder if she knows where she works.
They respect me at my job.
I don't know. It's definitely an interesting dynamic, and not, a little bit, abnormal, but
I think it's
everybody's
good, though. I think it's humbling for her.
Yeah, no, I love what she's going through right now because that's what she needed. She needed kind of that whole, like, light shined on what life really is, and I think that's what this is right now.
Absolutely. And, you know, as we get into the second episode, you know, we see her mom kind of, you know, being there for her. She's at the apartment now in her, what did she call it, the ship box?
Yeah.
She's in her ship box. It's either smelling like kimchi or Sephora, so she's lighting all these candles. And, you know, they're, like, trying to clean everything up. And, you know, she's being there. She's being a mom there for her.
She's trying to make it feel better and feel more like home, even though sometimes moms can knock you down and belittle you in the process.
Oh, it's just mom.
It's tough love. It's tough love, you know. And she, you know, as they were talking about it, what did she say to her when she was leaving the house? She's like, we don't hurt or, like,
we're not scared.
We're not scared. Yeah. We're strong women.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I gave you my middle name.
Yeah. So it's Marnie Marie.
And she's like, well, my first name is, like, one letter off from your middle name. Like, it's kind of, you know, hello. But, you know, she's making an effort. She
is. And I hope that we get to see more of that, like, throughout the season, a little bit more of that with her. That it's not so much her relying on her friends, but maybe she has more of the support from her mom or more of a relationship there that we kind of see.
Well, we definitely see that she's relying on her friends because she certainly felt left out and wished that road trip did not happen.
Did not happen, but
at all.
Yeah. Not that she was on it, but selfishly that it just didn't happen.
Well, you know, she's always hated when they spend any kind of amount of time on Jessa or any kind of thoughts go into Jessa. She's always had this weird competition with Jessa.
And she takes the attention away from her.
But I think it's justified to a certain degree as well because it's like here Jessa is, oh my God, poor victim. She's doing what Jessa does again, and she's going to do it again. $100. She's going to do it again. Jessa's going to come back. She's going to be around for a little while. And then off she goes gallivanting to Europe with some guy. And then her heart gets broken. Hannah's heart gets broken.
They're all kind of victims, though.
Yeah, I think they all kind of do it to themselves. I think the only one, the only one we really haven't seen do that is
blissfully unaware in a way.
Is Shoshanna. She's the only one that's legitimately, like, there for each one of them in her own, like, quirky, weird way. Because she just doesn't get it yet.
Yeah, she's new to the whole, like, dating game.
But it's like, you know, Hannah was a victim and Marnie wasn't really there. When they had their whole fit and whatever, Marnie kind of did the same thing. She was kind of like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I don't like your boyfriend anyway. But then now she's a victim, Jess is a victim, and now is competing on who the bigger victim is. That's kind of the way that I see it.
Well, I love that Shoshanna's not playing the victim role, that she's almost like the very what's the best way to put it, she's just like the little voice of reason without realizing it, and it's because she's so new to the game. And boy, is she new to the game. I mean, when they opened the first episode with her in the bunk bed of some random guy, college days for my dear friends that have had that.
She's naive. That's why she's not smart enough to even know better to play that.
No, she like her reactions, her responses remind me of like a kid that's just literally calling it as they see it in their tunnel vision because they just don't see the bigger picture. And that's kind of what she does. Like she just like exactly how she sees what she sees right in front of her. Like there's no kind of process. There's no thinking about anything. She just says whatever pops in her head.
Actually, I think the funniest part was when they were like driving in the car and, you know, Adam's like, or Hannah's like, you know, you probably think women shouldn't be president. And Shoshanna's like, no, they shouldn't. Like hormones and stuff. Like you can't make decisions.
Their PMS might affect it.
Like, she's like, but with a straight face.
Like you don't know what that comment just did to this room by saying that in front of a man. You would never really do that or let that go, but she did.
Yeah.
She's just so out there.
Hilarious. So Jessa ends up calling Hannah saying that she needs to get picked up from rehab, but she tells her that they have to come and pick her up and sign a waiver for her to leave, that she's not able to leave until they get there to pick her up. So Hannah's not old enough to run a car, so she gets Adam to drive them. And they pick up Shoshanna and they take this really funky road trip where on the way they stop at this diner and Shoshanna buys a rocking chair.
Shoshana's so out there. She's like, oh my God, I'm buying a rocking chair.
I wasn't hungry, so I decided to get a souvenir instead.
My friend is going to die because I'm going to have the rocking chair.
Well, she doesn't want to eat because they don't have the calories listed on the menu.
Yeah.
Let's start there. And what's your favorite utensil? Why would you want something with a prod poking your tongue when you can have a pillowy cloud?
What was the pillowy cloud? I didn't understand.
I was thinking, was that a spoon? I was assuming
or is she just making something else up completely? And his reaction, like, what are you even saying?
What are you talking about?
She's out there.
She is
completely out there.
Yeah.
And God love her for it.
I don't know. What do you think about like Hannah running off to the bathroom and then saying she was nauseous and then she didn't feel good?
Oh, no.
Ooh, is she going to be pregnant?
I'm not very hungry, but
Did they not have protected sex?
I don't know.
She's not. I don't think she's that. Well, in the first season, she's like, she asks him, do you use protection or can you use protection? And we find that he doesn't always.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's a possibility at this point with them living together. You know, she may be not protected. Oh my, could you imagine?
Because they couldn't have a baby on the show.
Then she's like eating donuts and she's like, do you think the donut will help with my nausea or make it worse? Like she's like back there and she's like, the rocking chair's not letting me be myself, express myself.
Their perceptions are just so completely off on this road trip of what their expectation is.
Well, and then they're bored, and I like how Adam's like, boredom is bullshit. He's like, boredom is for people with no imagination.
It is. You live in a world with infinite possibilities,
exactly.
And you're being bored.
And he pulls over to hike. He just pulls right over to hike with this big old stick.
I love, well, first of all, what she says to him when they're hiking, she's like, I'm not going. She's like, absolutely no. She's like, it's liberating to say no to shit you don't want to do.
I love that. I love that. And then she's like, wait, but now my friends are leaving. Nobody's going to stay with me? I don't know if I really want this.
What is she? It sounds like at first, I know she's listening to a radio show, but at first it's like she's listening to, what are those things?
Like a CB radio?
Yeah.
I'm like, what is she laying in the leaves listening to a CB radio to like the cops and what crazy danger is going to happen?
I know, it's funny. But I like his response. He's like, okay. And then, like, he keeps walking. See you later.
But, you know, he was right, though, in fact of pulling over. He's like, you wanted an experience, and here's your experience, you know? He's like, there's frogs and trees and birdie birds.
This is life right here.
She's like, I don't want this experience.
I don't think she realized that, you know, driving in a car is going to be boring as all holy hell.
Yeah. Well, I like that it gave Shoshanna and Adam a chance to have some interaction alone. And the conversation that they had, I thought, was really great.
Yeah.
When Shoshanna starts talking to him and is like, you know, it's a good thing that you are who you are and you don't have responsibilities and you don't have this. I mean, think about it. What would Hannah have done had you had a place to go or had a best friend or had something? And his response was perfect.
I thought he was going to take it a particular way.
I thought he was going to be offended.
Oh, yeah. Either offended or like, you're right.
I don't do anything. What am I going to do with my life, right?
I mean, if it had Shoshanna had said that to Ray, he would have hurt. Ray would have hurt with those comments. You don't have a job. You don't have a best friend.
Yeah.
Like, ouch.
Taking it personally.
That stings. And for him to come back, for Adam to come back and say, well, Hannah is my best friend.
Oh. Even Sho, she's like, oh.
Like tears.
Yeah, I mean that's the best response ever because that is kind of I think what you would want in a relationship is you want that person. I mean if that person that you're with is not your best friend, then what's the point?
What are you doing? Yeah.
It's like what's the point? And that's how they really know each other. I mean, it doesn't get any crazier than breaking down a door to get your psycho ex-girlfriend, help her get her crap together,
No kidding.
Could they do it while they're healthy?
Right? Let's see. I'm hoping. It looks like it. I mean, things are looking good.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Their interaction is really sweet, and it's, first of all, the hotel situation.
That's amazing. I love how he doesn't care who's in the room or what is going on. He's just going to say it.
He's like, first of all, let's play truth or dare.
He's like, wait, can you turn off the TV now? Can you shut off your laptop now? And then Shoshanna's like, let's play truth or dare. He's like, I don't know how to play. They try like 2 times, he's over it. He turns the light, game over, bedtime.
He's very, there's no filter.
No.
And I love that about him. Mm-hmm. He tells it as it is. He's there when you need him. And I like that.
Yeah.
I like that about him.
Yeah.
I mean, if I were dating him, that'd be great, but he'd definitely have to have a job. Living off your grandmother.
He sells paper mache stuff he makes.
Well, when I thought it was interesting that when she was at the therapist's office talking to the therapist about, how well her book is going with her publisher and how, he's very proud of her, that her mental illness is now helping her along with how her book's going. And, she's got this whole career thing, which is really great. But he got very interested in, so what's Adam's role in all of this?
Right.
How does he fit into all of this? And I think he was gearing more towards the responsibility of what we, society, expect from him. Mm-hmm. But
or how that makes her feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And instead, it was more like, he takes care of me. He's there for me, like, in ways that she truly needs.
Mm-hmm. Right. Take her medicine.
Like, isn't this supposed to be about me?
Yeah.
Why are you talking about him?
Exactly. But why does she not want to say what he makes with his paper mache?
Well, he does.
What is he making over there that he's selling?
Who knows? I mean, he was making a boat until last season.
True.
In his living room. How is he going to get it out the door?
Incredible.
How are you making a boat in your apartment?
Oh, Adam.
Are you going to ship it out the window? I don't know. I don't get it.
But I like that she says, he makes her take her pills. He, makes her eat protein. And he does a calming chant to help, calm her down. I mean, he is kind of what she needs right now.
And we see what he needs in the hotel room is to have sex with her before he goes to sleep every night.
Yeah. And she gives it to him.
Which makes Shoshanna completely uncomfortable. She's like, I'm going to leave and let when the cum train, the cum parade has passed.
Has paraded on, let me know.
I will come back. And we find, Hannah finds Shoshanna shortly after that they're done, playing with Chex Mix because she's allergic. But that's where we find Shoshanna has a really, really just warped perception of Jessa.
Oh, absolutely. They have a very interesting conversation during those few minutes there.
And Hannah questions at that point, are we doing the right thing by picking Jessa up from rehab? Are we doing the right thing? And she's like, no. Like, this is Jessa partying. That's just fun. Her getting divorced. That's just fun.
Yeah,
she got a lot
Jessa
of money.
has no idea.
Yeah, like she's just totally off her.
Shoshanna has no idea.
Yeah.
No idea. So they're not even really having a full-on conversation, and Hannah's not acknowledging, like, oh, you don't even understand what's going on here.
I mean, she's like, Shoshanna flat out says, you're probably remembering the story wrong. It was probably you crying. Like, she just cannot see. I mean, because Jessa is kind of this fun, such a glamorous person in Shoshanna's eyes. Like, she just doesn't get it, like, at all.
Yeah.
She doesn't see, like, the real pain behind there. And, I mean, that just shows, again, just how naive and just how young-minded she is, and that she just really has a lot of growing up to do. And when they finally go and do get Jessa, and, kind of realize that they've been duped, that they didn't have to necessarily drive all the way over there to pick her up.
There's an airport! It's a very small one.
Yeah. But,
she needed them. That's
did.
her idea of telling them she needs them.
Yeah, well, but she just won't say it.
She won't say it.
She won't say it. And the other thing, too, is how was she going to get out of there? Her grandmother promised her a plane ticket, so either she had to rent a car, which they're not old enough to do, unless Jess is older, but I think she's still the same age.
Yeah, but she could have still just been honest. She could have just been honest, and she wasn't.
Yeah.
She just still, either way, she could have been honest, and she wasn't. She made it to where, like, there was no other way for her to leave, that they had to do it. Because I think she's just simply afraid to really rely on them just to do it because they want to. Because I don't think that she believes that they would. So even when Hannah hugs her, she's so uncomfortable by it. Like, what is all this? What is all this? Like, she doesn't get that Hannah really, truly does love and care about her and was worried about her. And needs her as a friend just as much as Jessa needs her and just doesn't realize it. And it was nice to kind of see their interaction and for her to tell her, I was mad at you. Like, you left me there. This is everything that I had to do. Like, like, what the hell? Like, the friends don't do that.
I told you last season, the biggest breakup was not with Adam.
No.
It was with Jessa. It was her friendship with Jessa that really just threw her over the edge, that threw that OCD back into gear the way that it went. And, their relationship is Jessa creates these unhealthy relationships, not for herself, but for the other people.
Yeah. She just gives this kind of like illusion of being there when she's really not. And, we'll see.
Hannah's super needy of other people, too. So it's like she globs on, and then when they're not there, she uses that as the excuse to start to go even crazier.
Right.
Instead of like, hey, girl, get it together. It doesn't matter if your friend's not here. You've got to buck up and take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Well, and the fact that Adam only will put up with that for a certain extent is what I'm hoping is going to help kind of kick her into being a little bit more independent in a real way. So we can really see her kind of get out of that real neediness.
Yeah, he doesn't play into it.
No, and have real friendships. You know, the way we can see her have real friendships and the way that there should be with those boundaries of not having to need someone so much, but actually wanting someone's company. And, being able to see all of them kind of have.
You shouldn't have to need someone in a relationship, period.
No, no.
You know, it's
and they all kind of do in their weird ways. They don't really have... I don't know. It all seems like very needy more so than it feels like they just genuinely enjoy each other's company.
It seems like that's where it seems like the next episodes may be going, that they're coming into themselves and learning how to get their own feet, their own strength, and be comfortable being themselves and not actually be so needy of all the other individuals.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Well, let's get into some predictions and talk about what we think is going to happen coming up this season.
You think they may have babies?
I think there's going to be babies or something. Maybe a miscarriage scare. I don't know. Maybe something like real they have to deal with because we've already dealt with an abortion. So I don't know.
Well, almost abortion.
Yeah, almost.
Jessa thought she was pregnant.
Right.
But they were all at the abortion clinic with the party, and Shoshanna brought gifts.
Yes, that's true.
Treats.
Yes, so we had almost abortion. So maybe we'll have something to do with that. I don't know, but that could be just way too easy. So way too predictable. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I
don't see it going in that direction, but maybe I'm naive.
It may be way too predictable, but
No, I think that we're going to see the relationship between Hannah and Adam develop. That's for sure. There could possibly be a pregnancy. Who knows? He was rubbing her belly a lot. She was feeling kind of nauseous, but then she was also driving in the back of the car and the trees and
stuff. Could totally just have been car sickness and all that, and just way overthinking it.
Definitely overthinking. She has nothing to do but think in that car. That'll make you sick.
Yeah, so
she can't get her book done. But their relationship, I think, is going to develop, and I think this is a healthy thing for them. I think it's going to be a healthy growth for Hannah. So I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, I don't want to see them break up again.
No. At least not yet. No.
I think with Shoshanna, I think it's going to be fun to see the adventures of Shoshanna.
Well, she just started smoking in the end of the last episode. Did you see her outside with all the bad girls smoking? And she's like, I don't really know how to do this. Is this right?
Yes.
So maybe she's going to turn into
a little wild child, maybe.
She's definitely, it's going to be interesting to see Shoshanna kind of come into her own.
I want to see her and Ray have an interaction.
It's
inevitable.
Yeah. As much as he thinks that it isn't.
Yeah. He doesn't want to, and we saw at the very, very beginning of the first episode, he doesn't want, you're not supposed to, an X is an X for a reason. No. But that's bound to happen. Whether it's a good one or not, we'll see. So that'll be fun.
They got to get new guys in there. Yes. For Marnie, right?
We're going to see a lot. I think a lot of
see some new blood.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll definitely see some new blood coming up, which will be fun.
I want to see all the new boys.
Yeah.
More boys for girls.
That's what you get on a girls show. You get to see the boys.
Lots more boys. Lots more boys. Yes. All right. Well, I think that's a wrap for us. And congratulations to the show. They got picked up for season 4.
Yes.
Yes. So we're
good for us,
super excited for that. So so we'll definitely be sticking around for a while. So thank you guys so much for joining us, and tell us some more about what when are your movies coming out? Where can people find you? You have a website, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram.
You can do Twitter at my Lindsey McKeon. And if you look on IMDb, it'll update you on everything that I'm doing and when it comes out. I don't have release dates yet, but within the next few months, hopefully.
Fabulous.
You never know.
Well, hopefully you can come back and sit in with us again and do more of these with us. It's super fun. Thank you so much. We loved having you. Make sure to follow us at AfterBuzz TV, and please go to iTunes, rate and download our podcast. It is free, and tell your friends. And you can follow me at Kellie with an IE 079 on Instagram and Twitter.
You can follow me, Miriam Gonzalez, on Twitter.
And we will see you guys again next week.
Bye.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
See you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.